The radio screamed for backup. The canyon roared with gunfire, but then one rifle cracked from the ridge. A single sniper turned despair into thunder. This is the story of Sophia, Marine Ranger, ghost of the cliffs, and the shot that saved them all. The sun blistered the canyon floor, burning every grain of dust until it shimmered like broken glass. Boots dragged through it, heavy with sand and sweat. Sophia marched with her squad, her pack biting into her shoulders, rifle balanced against her chest. Her broken watch ticked no more. Its glass was cracked, its hands frozen at 12:47. She wore it anyway. It reminded her time could stop at any second. The canyon narrowed ahead, a gash of stone where shadows pooled like oil. Sergeant Ramirez raised his fist. Halt! Silence spread like a contagion. Even the wind seemed to die, as though afraid to disturb what waited above. Sophia squinted at the ridges. Rocks perched like crouching beasts. Nothing moved. And yet the hair on her arms prickled. "Eyes up," Ramirez whispered. Sophia's heart hammered. She thought of the empty wallet tucked in her breast pocket, left there on purpose. Inside, nothing but dust and a folded scrap of paper with a name she never read aloud. A reminder of what she had lost. A promise of what she must not lose again. The crack came sudden, machine fire shredding the canyon air. Bullets sparked against stone. Men dove for cover. Dust erupted, choking lungs, blinding eyes. Contact. Left ridge. Sophia rolled behind a slab of rock, pressing her cheek to its roughness. The air reeked of cordite and heat. Her pulse screamed in her ears. She tried to return fire, but muzzle flashes bloomed everywhere at once. High ground owned by shadows. Ramirez roared into the chaos. "Ranger 21 under heavy contact." "Send backup! Send backup!" The only reply was static. A grenade slammed into the canyon floor, showering them with jagged stone. Sophia's cheek bled where a chip sliced her skin. She bit down panic, forcing her breath steady. The canyon became a crucible of thunder. Dust. Fear. A coffin of stone. And somewhere above, unseen, a scope found its mark. A finger tightened on a trigger. The first shot echoed like judgment. The rifle's echo rolled through the canyon walls, deeper than any storm Sophia had heard. One enemy collapsed mid-burst. Confusion erupted among the ambushers. Their confidence cracked. "Move! She's covering us!" Ramirez shouted. Sophia glanced upward, but the ridge was only stone and shadow. No figure, no face. Just the sound. Thunder striking with impossible precision. She crawled forward, dragging her rifle through the dust. Miller beside her muttered, "She's real. She's out there." His lips trembled, but his grip steadied. The thunder gave him courage. Another shot cracked. Another figure folded. Sophia pressed her palm against her broken watch. She felt the frozen time against her skin and thought of the hours she had prayed for backup in other fights, when none came. But today, someone had answered. Her squad surged in rhythm with the unseen sniper. Each bark of thunder gave them space to move. Each pause threatened silence. Sophia fired at a muzzle flash, stone shattering, forcing the shooter low. She sucked grit into her teeth, spat blood, and kept going. The enemy howled from above, firing wildly into the cliffs. Dust rained on them. But Sophia understood. Their panic meant they were blind. A second grenade arced downward. Sophia flinched, then thunder roared again. The thrower crumpled. The grenade rolled harmlessly into a crack, fizzing smoke. Sophia's throat tightened. Whoever she was, she had eyes like a hawk and a trigger that spoke salvation. "Advance!" Ramirez barked. Sophia sprinted low, boots skidding on gravel. The canyon walls closed tighter, the kill box pressing around them. Yet with every shot from the ridge, the walls seemed to bend outward, giving them room to breathe. Her empty wallet pressed against her chest as she ran. The scrap of paper inside scratched her skin like a reminder. Don't die with debts unpaid. Another volley rained down. Sophia dove into cover, lungs searing, ears ringing. The squad regrouped, battered but alive. Above, the ridge thundered once more. Through the haze, Sophia spotted it, a glint of glass on the far ridge. Enemy sniper. Lined on Ramirez, she froze, helpless. Time stopped again at 12:47. Then thunder shattered the moment. The rival sniper's body slumped, rifle clattering into the dust. Ramirez never knew how close death had brushed him. Sophia's breath quivered. Relief warred with terror. Whoever she was, their ghost was not only saving them, she was being hunted. Gunfire surged anew. Insurgents poured lead into the canyon, their rage louder now. Desperation replaced confidence. Sophia fired upward, each squeeze less frantic, more deliberate. She thought of training drills, instructors barking, slow as smooth, smooth as fast. The rhythm steadied her hands. The ridge thundered again and again. Machine gunners fell. Squad leaders toppled. Sophia rose from cover, lips cracked, eyes burning. She saw Miller grinning like a madman. "She's everywhere," he shouted. Sophia almost believed it. A dusty road wound upward at the canyon's edge. For a heartbeat, Sophia imagined sprinting toward it, climbing to meet the phantom herself. But her boots stayed rooted. She wasn't meant to meet ghosts. Her wallet thumped with every heartbeat, empty as always. She thought of the life she had abandoned, of debts unpaid, of love lost to silence. She fired into the dust, determined not to leave another name unspoken. Another crack of thunder. Another enemy silenced, then silence. The ridge fell quiet. No shot, no cover. Only the canyon's suffocating breath. Sophia's throat went dry. "Where is she?" Miller whispered. Silence stretched like a noose. Enemy fire pressed harder. The squad huddled low, pinned again. Sophia gripped her broken watch. If the ridge had gone silent, hope was gone. Then the thunder returned. Louder, closer, sharper. The ghost had shifted positions. She had not fallen. She had become the storm itself. Relief flooded Sophia's chest. She felt tears burn her eyes, but she blinked them away, angry at her own weakness. Through smoke, she glimpsed a figure crawling along the ridge. Helmet low, rifle long, body pressed tight against stone. For a heartbeat, Sophia thought their ghost had form. But dust swallowed her again. The rifle spoke once more. Two grenadiers collapsed before their arms could arc. "Push!" Ramirez roared. The squad surged, climbing rubble, taking sandbag nests long abandoned in panic. Sophia fired alongside them, each shot matched by thunder overhead. The battle turned into a duet. The Marines below, the phantom above. Sophia's muscles ached. Her canteen was empty. Her lips bled from dryness. Still, she pressed forward, wallet thumping, watch frozen, heart relentless. A rocket streaked from the far ridge, detonating against stone. Shrapnel screamed past Sophia's cheek, slicing skin. Miller fell beside her, clutching his arm. She dragged him into cover, rage burning her veins. Thunder answered. The rocket team was no more. Sophia pressed her forehead to the dusty road, whispering, "Thank you, whoever you are," the ridge answered with another roar. Their eyes met for only a second. Sophia wasn't sure if it was real or imagined. But the figure on the ridge tilted her rifle almost in salute before vanishing again. Sophia's chest swelled. For the first time, she whispered her secret aloud. The name folded inside her wallet. It vanished in the roar of battle, but she felt lighter. The squad pressed the advantage. The enemy broke ranks, stumbling back, firing wild and hopeless. Leaders fell, gunners fell, hope fell. Sophia's rifle emptied. She slammed in her last magazine, each bullet a prayer. "Advance! Drive them out!" Ramirez barked. The Marines surged, voices hoarse, lungs scorched. Every step cost blood. Davis was down, his side bandaged, dragged by two comrades. Jenkins coughed crimson into his palm, still firing. Sophia clenched her broken watch in her fist. Not yet. Not 12:47. Not the end. Thunder cracked again, ripping the canyon apart. The enemy line shattered. Fighters fled into shadows, abandoning weapons. Their ambush had turned into their grave. Sophia's lungs burned, but she kept firing, chasing them step by step. Dust and thunder mingled into one endless roar. Her wallet pressed empty against her chest. Empty, yet heavier than ever. The ridge fell silent once more. But this silence felt different. Not defeat, completion. "Hold," Ramirez ordered. The squad slowed. Survivors collapsed against stone, sucking air, bleeding into dust. Sophia raised her head toward the ridge. She saw the ghost descending, slow, deliberate, boots slipping on gravel. The squad froze when the figure stepped into view. Helmet smeared with dust, uniform torn, rifle dull with grit. Sophia's chest tightened. The ghost was real. Ramirez stepped forward, eyes wide. "Sergeant, you saved us." The sniper lowered her rifle. Her voice was low, steady, scarred by smoke. "Name Sophia." The canyon went silent. Sophia, their Sophia, stood among them, the very thunder that had carried them through. Miller staggered forward, bleeding, arm trembling. "You're one of us?" "All this time." Sophia, Marine Ranger, sniper, ghost of the ridge, nodded once. She glanced at her broken watch, still frozen at 12:47. She slipped it off, pressed it into Miller's palm. "Time only stops when we let it," she said. Her wallet remained in her chest pocket, empty except for the scrap of paper with a single name. She had spoken it into the canyon. That was enough. The squad gathered, battered but alive, every man staring at her with reverence and disbelief. Ramirez saluted, not by protocol but by gratitude. Sophia tilted her rifle across her shoulder and scanned the canyon once more. Enemy stragglers still hid in shadows. The battle was not done, but hope was unbreakable now. The sniper had come down from the ridge. And her thunder was not finished. Engines rolled through the canyon like distant thunder trying to imitate hers. The sound started as a tremor beneath the soles, then grew teeth. Dust lifted, hung, and turned the sun to a pale coin. "Eyes up," Ramirez said, already kneeling, already drawing lines in the air. "Alpha to the cut. Bravo to the broken spine of rock." Rifles bristled from shadows like wary thorns. Sophia wiped grit off her cheek with the back of her glove and climbed a scarred boulder for a sliver more sky. Heat shimmered. The vehicles broke through the mirage. Low, blocky, armored, a nose of metal and intent. No flags, no friendly panels, no radio handshake. Just the steady crawl of steel. She pressed her tongue to the split in her lip and tasted iron. The dust on the road showed two sets of tracks. Inbound heavy tread, outbound thin, frantic. Someone had fled, someone had chased. She tracked both lines as if they were veins, as if the canyon were a body and she was reading its pulse. "Could be ours with comms down," Jenkins muttered. He didn't believe it. None of them did. Sophia slid the bolt open, checked the brass glow, closed it gently. Her broken watch was gone. She'd placed it in Miller's palm and his fingers had closed as if holding time itself. She felt naked without the dead weight on her wrist. So she pressed her empty wallet flat against her chest instead and breathed. The paper inside, one name, rustled like a moth. The first vehicle nosed around a bend and halted at the old culvert. Someone in the turret stood tall, too tall, looking not for friend or foe but for opportunity. A hand lifted, two fingers flared. The column fanned out with practiced hunger. No IFF, no call. Just motion. Just plan. "Negative ID," Ramirez said, his voice the sound of a blade. "Hold fire until—" A bright square flipped up on the lead roof, white cloth, dirty, shredding in wind. A flag. A symbol that pretended to mean what it once meant. The turret swung in the same breath. Sophia felt the canyon contract. She sighted on the gunner's throat. Saw stubble. Saw a bead of sweat slide toward a scar. Saw him grin because he thought a white rag was a key to a locked door. She didn't fire. "Wait," she whispered, and only the scope heard it. She scanned the flanks. A second turret rotated, not toward them but toward the ridge she had used. Toward the angles she had favored. They were hunting the ghost they couldn't see. They had learned. "Counter-sniper scan," she said. "They studied us," Ramirez nodded once. "We make them study something new." He sent Bravo curling left, low and patient. Alpha mirrored right with the grace of tired men who couldn't afford error. The canyon's ribs became their cover. The wind died again, as if the air wanted to hear what came next. The white cloth fluttered. The turret dipped and rose, indecisive or feigning it. The second vehicle crept to the culvert's lip and stopped on a patch of disturbed earth. Footprints hammered to mud by fleeing boots, and a sliver of wire that caught sunlight like a wink. Sophia felt the wink in her teeth. "Brakes!" she hissed, but the engine growl drowned it. The treads bit forward. She sighted not on a man, not on steel, but on the wire itself where it kissed a dull metal cup, half hidden in pulverized rock. Breath out. Trigger a thought away, she fired. The wire snapped like a violin string. The world didn't explode. The gunner flinched and slammed his hand down on the turret. Panic rippled the column. Muzzles pivoted, mouths shouted, and the false flag tore on stone. "Go!" Ramirez barked. Marines flowed. Dust rose. The canyon found its rhythm, their rhythm again. Sophia rolled, slid, planted, fired. One turret went dark. The second coughed tracer and scorched the place her head had been a breath earlier. She tasted hot air and bad luck. The lead vehicle rocked back, tried to reverse, treads squealing over a coil of now dead wire. A third truck fishtailed, blocked by a boulder that hadn't been there an hour ago. The ambush had a second act. Different author. Same stage. Sophia kept moving. Every new perch was an old confession. You can't stay. You can't be where they think. She stitched shots through slits of daylight. Steel sparked. Men folded. The column bled momentum. Push the hinge, Ramirez called. Break them in the middle. Sophia broke the middle. A driver jerked, slumped, and his vehicle kissed the culvert lip and stalled there like a lodged tooth. The canyon held its breath with the machine, waiting to see who would spit first. A fourth engine revved from deeper shadow. Heavy, lower, older. Not assault. Not troop. A tank of sound, not armor. A cistern truck, matte black, hose couched like a serpent. Fuel. Sophia's mouth dried. They wanted to turn the canyon into a throat and pour fire down it. She pivoted, found the driver's glass. The angle was bad. The sun bled across the pane. She saw her own silhouette cramped in the reflection, a smear of mask and dust and resolve. The cistern truck surged forward. The spark drifted, slow and arrogant. Time wanted to stop at 12:47. Again, Sophia put a round into the spark's parent, an idiot's cigarette between an idiot's fingers, and watched the ember vanish into a glove that would never close again. The liquid kept arcing. Gasoline spoke in its thin, cold tongue and puddled like a mirror under the cistern's shadow. Hold fire on that pool, Sophia said. Let it spread where it hurts them most. Ramirez read the floor as quickly as she did. Alpha carved the left flank. Bravo pressed the hinge. No pyro's engine snarled. Boots slid. The canyon ceiling felt close enough to touch with the muzzle. Sophia tracked, checked, fired, moved. 2 gunners went dumb. One driver finally understood he'd driven into a design and tried to wriggle out of it. His vehicle teetered on the culvert's broken rim and coughed black smoke like a dying oath. Downslope, Miller kept pace with Jenkins, one arm wrapped in a sling of gauze, the other steady on his rifle. His jaw was stone, but his eyes kept flicking to his wrist, the cracked watch she'd given him. It gleamed with new purpose, a dead face that told a living truth. You make the minutes. Sophia's empty wallet pressed harder against her ribs as she crawled to a new notch of rock. The paper's edge kissed skin. She imagined the name on it whispered back, still here, still owed. She steadied her breathing on the word owed and let it lengthen the exhale. Her scope found the cistern's petcock. If the hose coupling was its mouth, the petcock was its heart. She sent the round and heard metal clink into surrender. The gush slackened to a sulk. The enemy line faltered, then did what desperate things do. It learned. 2 rifles stitched shots at the angle she had used for the last 5 minutes. Not where she was now, but where she would be if she were slower. She wasn't. Their rounds ate rock, chewed dust, crawled past her ear like hot insects. Counter mind, she whispered to herself. Counter habit. Up canyon, a glint flashed, too clean, too patient. Not glass this time. Not scope. Something lower, fatter. A lens set to watch, not to aim. She rolled behind a rib of limestone and peered again, trading magnification for instinct. Cable half buried in silt. Box tucked into shadow. Antenna gnawed by wind. Ramirez, she said. Someone's running eyes and relays beyond the column. This canyon's wired to a second mouth, meaning the ambush never ended. Someone upstream is still chewing. Secondary deaths, maybe reserve fire, maybe dead man switch. Can you reach it? She looked at the road, dusty, pitted, cut into switchbacks like an old scar. The path where fear stumbles and resolve keeps its feet. I can. Take Miller. She wanted to argue that 1 man moves like a rumor and 2 like a plan, but she saw the blood on Miller's sleeve and the watch on his wrist, and she knew the message mattered more than her method. We moved together. They slipped into the canyon seam while Bravo made noise and Alpha made holes. The air smelled like sleep-deprived oil and cheap gunpowder. In the hollow beneath the culvert, a trickle of water found a way through the stone and insisted on going somewhere, because water always does. They reached the lens. It blinked with an idiot's confidence. Sophia palmed it off the rock and slid the cable out of its shallow grave. It ran toward a boulder that had looked like any other until the cable pointed at it and called it a liar. Behind the boulder, a field box daubed the color of mud. Lid unlatched. Inside, relays, a signal splitter, a phone with no SIM and too much purpose. 2 thumb switches taped together with the kind of love that only fear can manage. Dead man, Miller said, swallowing. Dead man, she agreed, and if he's dead, we get his last word anyway. She scanned for the boost. A small antenna up canyon, a 3rd wire, the whisper of power. She found the battery pack bolted to the boulder's belly, wires braided like nerves. She exhaled and slid her blade under black tape. When I cut the second lead, pull the battery. What if you're wrong about the order? Then the canyon grows a new mouth and eats us. Miller nodded. The watch on his wrist was heavy with her past and his now. He set his palm on the battery and met her eyes. On your breath. She cut the first lead on the last grains of an exhale. Nothing. The second lead waited like a dog that knows its name and wants to hear it. She inhaled. The cable hummed in her fingertips. She thought of the paper in her wallet and gave that name to the canyon again. Quietly, for courage, for balance, for debt. She cut. Miller yanked the battery free. Silence. Then, from the far slope, a silhouette stood. A figure with a radio and a habit of patience. He raised the handset to his mouth, saw the slack cable in Sophia's hands, and understood his trap was now just wire. He ran. Sophia raised her rifle, but the angle was bad. The road cut him from her like pages torn out of a book.